A large-scale earthquake, a devastating space shuttle explosion, and the most deadly terrorist attacks in American history. Shockingly, these unthinkable tragedies and more were all captured on camera. Ranking high among the wildest fan fights of sports history, the Dinamo Red Star riot occurred as Yugoslavia disintegrated amid ethnic rivalries in the late 1980s. Towards the end of the 1989-90 Yugoslav soccer season, one of the biggest and most violent soccer rivalries in the world met at the Croatian capital's Maksimir Stadium, where Serbian side Red Star Belgrade faced off against Dinamo Zagreb. That year, Croatian pro-independence parties had won a massive electoral victory, and police expected trouble between the hardcore nationalist fans. Croatian fan and eyewitness Ivo Persia told a Transworld Sport documentary team, the riot began when Red Star fans attacked the Dinamo family section.
So our supporters, the Bad Blue Boys, decided to break through the fences to try and put a stop to it.
The counterattack ignited a full-scale riot. Police responded with tear gas and batons. The Croatian fans accused the police of favoring the Serbs and also attacked them. Dinamo player Zvonimir Boban then kicked a police officer in the face for beating a Dinamo fan. By the end, over 60 were wounded. Croatian journalist Drazen Kruse told Transworld Sport the riot was likely pre-planned by the authorities in Belgrade. He noted that notorious Serbian paramilitary and politician Željko Arkin Ražnatović, who would later commit war crimes in Croatia and Bosnia, was present there as the head of the Red Star fans. Regardless, May 13, 1990 lives in Croatian lore as the beginning of the Croatian War of Independence. On January 28, 1986, Americans were glued to their televisions to watch the launch of the Space Shuttle Challenger. The launch was supposed to kick off a busy year for NASA in preparation for the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope. The Challenger would deploy satellites while also carrying a teacher named Krista McAuliffe, who would teach her classes from space. The Challenger appeared to be adhering to the timeline. When it launched its flight, it exploded in mid-air, killing the entire crew.
We have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded.
After delivering a eulogy in honor of the crew, President Ronald Reagan ordered an investigation into the explosion, whose findings were summarized in the Rogers Commission report. The commission stated, "The loss of the Space Shuttle Challenger was caused by a failure in the joint between the two lower segments on the right solid rocket motor. The specific failure was the destruction of the seals that are intended to prevent hot gases from leaking."
This is truly a national loss.
In other words, a technical failure that was likely preventable but was not caught due to NASA's command structure. According to the Rogers report, the maker of the seals of the shuttle's launcher had warned NASA that they could potentially fail in colder weather. Morton Thiokol, the company in question, issued the warnings as early as 1985. However, it seems that NASA decided to go through with the launch anyway, despite colder temperatures being predicted for Cape Canaveral on the launch date, which was in early winter. The 1989 World Series was known as the Battle of the Bay and featured the San Francisco Giants facing off against the Oakland A's. Oakland won the first two games, so San Francisco needed to win Game 3 to have a chance at forcing a tiebreaker in a fifth game. During ABC's pregame coverage of the third game, however, the screen suddenly cut out. Despite the ABC announcer's optimism that coverage would return, the situation was far more serious than they made it seem. San Francisco had been hit by a 6.9 magnitude earthquake. The tremor cut power to the stadium and forced the game to be postponed 10 days, nor was the city left untouched. For a 15-second earthquake, the 1989 Loma Prieta tremor did way more than just interrupt the World Series. According to the statistics from the California Department of Conservation, the earthquake caused around $10 billion in damage and economic interruption. Nearly 18,000 homes were damaged and nearly 1,000 destroyed, as were thousands of small businesses. Part of Interstate 880 collapsed, leaving the highway unusable, while the Bay Bridge connecting Oakland with San Francisco was also closed. 67 were killed and 3,700 injured. As for the World Series, play resumed 10 days later as Oakland swept the series with a 4-game triumph. Counting among the worst instances of mass civil violence in U.S. history, the 1992 Los Angeles riots began in response to the acquittal of 4 police officers who were accused of beating a black man named Rodney King due to his skin color. Los Angeles was engulfed in looting and violence that saw 50 killed, around 2,300 injured, and a staggering $1 billion in property damage.
It's not right! It's not right what y'all doing!
In the period leading up to the riots, South Los Angeles was a tinderbox of racially charged resentment, directed in no small part against the LAPD, who were seen by the majority black residents as more of an occupying force than peacekeepers. In Koreatown, the recent shooting of a 15-year-old girl by a store owner had exacerbated tensions between Korean and black residents, fanning the flames that eventually rose. Black street gangs targeted white and Hispanic residents, stores were looted, and general mayhem reigned. Video cameras captured the Los Angeles skyline ablaze. Reporters noted that there was little that could be done to contain the problem. The LA police, who were already short-staffed before the riots, were simply spread too thin to effectively control the chaos. The governor of California, Pete Wilson, ultimately was forced to call in the state National Guard, which managed to contain the worst of the rioting. The Guard's presence, combined with Rodney King's appeal for calm and for Angelenos to try and get along, helped the rioting eventually subside. In June 2019, the inhabitants of West London woke up to a horrifying sight at 1 a.m. The 23-story Grenfell apartment council complex had caught fire. Grenfell inhabitant Behelu Kabid called the London Fire Brigade, which found smoke and fire at Kabid's window near a fridge freezer, perhaps as a result of what the brigade called unknown materials. The blaze quickly spread around the window, eventually engulfing the whole building. What was particularly scary about the fire was that although it began on the fourth floor, it was not contained, and residents on the upper floors soon found themselves facing flames moving up the building. Therein lay the cause of most of the casualties. Grenfell's policy required residents in a fire to stay put in their homes because the building was designed to ensure fires were contained in a single apartment. That did not happen, meaning that many people who obeyed the stay put order were burned alive, while those who survived were the ones who defied it. Altogether, 72 people were killed. The local council demanded an investigation into why the fire had spread so easily, despite the alleged safety features of the building. It found that the council itself had cut corners on fire safety design and silenced anyone who objected.